A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor better than silver or gold. Do you believe that? Obviously, it is from the book of Proverbs. We run into that sort of thing in the book of Proverbs. A good name is better than silver or gold. Sounds a little quaint, this talk of a good name. But this is typical of Proverbs. Ethics done the old-fashioned way. This was 600 years before Christ was born. An older person telling a younger person how to live in order to have a good life. The book of Proverbs is, among other things, a great collection of this sort of wisdom, practical advice on how to get along in the world. Some of it, like any parent's advice, is valuable. Some of Proverbs we could get along without. A soft answer turns away wrath. Okay. Fine speech is not becoming a fool. That works. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only expressing his opinions. You're thinking of someone, I know you are. A wife's quarreling is a continued dripping of rain. Never mind. Like a diamond in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman with no sense. I'm not preaching on that. Advice on how to get along in the world. Experience really can be a good teacher, says Proverbs. Listen to your elders. Let them give you advice. You don't have to reinvent the wheel as far as your life is concerned. Ethics from Proverbs' perspective. Whatever happened to ethics? Assaulted by sleaze, scandal, and hypocrisy, America searches for its moral bearings. I just pulled a couple of headlines. And no bias on political persuasions. This is Republican, Democrat, Independent. Republican Congressman Santos was kicked out of Congress because of fraud. Democrat Eric Adams, the Democrat mayor of New York City, the largest city in our country, has just been charged on Friday with bribery. Republican Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, who is now running for governor, charged with lewd, racist comments on the web. Independent Robert Kennedy charged with a sexting scandal. I didn't even know what that was. I had to look it up. I wish I hadn't. I can't forget. That's true, I can't. It is sending or receiving explicit messages. Or Democrat Bob Menendez, convicted of bribery, removed from the Senate. They went to his house. They discovered $450,000 in gold coins and bars. And then he blamed his wife. When offered a choice between silver or gold or a good name, we go for the gold. So here we are in the book of Proverbs, talking about ethics, right and wrong, good and evil. A discredited candidate in a recent campaign asked, why should higher personal standards be applied to me than to anyone else? That led one cynic to remark, he should have campaigned on the platform, it takes sleaze to lead sleaze. These are sad days for our country and our culture. where are we going? If life is nothing more than a series of detached, unrelated choices and decisions without reference to any goal or purpose, we're going nowhere. In deciding to listen only to ourselves for ethical guidance, we wake up one day and realize there's no self there. We haven't grown, we've shrunk. We are, in part, creations of an accumulated past. Each of us has a past. Our decisions are significant as they coalesce into a picture of a person who is doing the deciding. When we come right down to it, we are talking about that rather old-fashioned quality called character. Character is the accumulation of certain dependable virtues over a lifetime. That's just what I would have expected her to do, is an everyday affirmation of character, a recognition that an individual is a character, a coherent, purposeful personality whose life is more than unrelated, knee-jerk reactions to one thing after another. For most of us, ethics is not so much what we decide, but the little unconscious ways we live our lives, the habits that give our lives unity and direction. Most of us live by habit. Most of us do not steal out of habit. Most of you do not have to agonize over whether or not to steal the wallet or the purse of the person who is sitting next to you in the pew. There are things that we can be counted upon just not to do. We don't have to think about it. And that's ethics in the deepest, most dependable kind. So Aristotle noted that it was too much to ask of most people to be good. About the best that could be expected of ordinary people like us is that we learn good habits. Goodness doesn't come naturally. It is not some innate human ability. This is a fallen world. Goodness is a virtue that is present in those who have trained under a master. It takes time to be good. Philip Halley wrote of the little village of Les Chambon in France, a town whose people, unlike others in France, hid their Jewish population from the Nazis. Halley went there wondering what sort of courageous, ethical heroes could risk all to do that extraordinary good. He interviewed people in the village, and he was overwhelmed by their ordinariness. They weren't heroes, smart, or discerning people. He decided that the one factor that united them was their attendance Sunday after Sunday at their little church, where they heard the sermons of Pastor Trocme. Over time, they became, by habit, people who just knew what to do and did it. When it came time for them to be courageous, the day the Nazis came to town, they quietly did what was right. One older woman who faked a heart attack when the Nazis came to search her house later said, "Pastor always taught us that there comes a time in every life when a person is asked to do something for Jesus. When our time came, we knew what to do." I pray that if that time ever comes for us, we will know what to do. Good people are mostly the people of good habits. Many in our society have been neglecting habits. Having convinced ourselves that our world is so new and demanding that we are faced with problems that our parents never knew, there are no guides or values other than the ones we make up as we go. We haven't grown, we have shrunk into untrustworthy slaves, never able to rise above our situation because we have no view of ourselves or the good beyond the confines of the moment. Not long ago, a congressman in the state where we once lived was convicted of bribery. I was surprised. "I'm not," said an old friend. "I was in college with him. He had no morality then. I'm sure he has even less now." His was an everyday observation of character or lack of it. What will be said of us in years to come? I have a hunch it will be something based on who we were yesterday, who we are today, and who we will be tomorrow. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Thanks be to God. Amen.